OATS UNCUT, Orator Academy Talks UNCUT, where we bring you candid, unedited, unscripted conversations, organic, raw conversations. Why so? Because life is easier that way. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming a friend, a community leader, inspirer, trailblazer, Jeff Friedman. Jeff, welcome to OATS UNCUT.
Thanks so much for inviting me. This is great.
You're giving me competition with the hair today.
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm having a little bit of a bad hair day, but you on the other hand looks great. Yeah.
Well, I hope, because I put in a lot of effort.
Well, I can see that. I think a little trip to the beauty parlor, whatever. You don't call that anymore. Okay,
we don't call that anymore.
Right.
So Jeff, I recently bumped into you at the Clergy Corner where we were talking about meditation, and I was very intrigued that you talked about transcendental meditation. Now, though I don't want to talk about that right now, but what I was very intrigued about was that I only associated you with Livingston Philanthropies, a beautiful, selfless initiative of giving back to the community for the underprivileged or people who are going through a crisis and never want to come forward to the general public. You quietly behind the scenes help them. So I want you to talk about yourself and about Livingston Philanthropies, how you got started,
sure,
etc.
Yeah. Well, it was an evolution, just like everything. So basically, what we do is we take care of the homeless and families living below the poverty line, which of course have been increasing. We're doing this now; it's our 14th season,
wow.
And the numbers, the lines going down the street, waiting to get a little bit of sustenance for the families. It's crazy, and it's all over the country, and of course it's all over the world. And so we go to Newark, and we have 5 or 6 distribution partners, and we get donations from Livingston residents and others of product, and then we get monies, which we in turn buy product. This time of year, tomorrow we're going to Penn Station. We're giving out, well, here, let me just lean out of the shot for a second.
Yeah.
We give out these little packages that my wife Karen, my partner, makes, and where are the homeless going to go when it's freezing out? Or listen, 40 degrees is freezing for them because it's 30 at night. So these go out, and I go with Pastor Dan Martian, one of your other friends in town, my partner, and I'll just show you quickly. So they'll get a bar soap, get
socks,
bombas that I get from St. John's Soup Kitchen in New York. These are great. These are These are Mylar blankets, and these are blankets. So if you're out, you wrap yourself up, and they do a pretty good job. So I'm told, thank goodness I never needed one.
Yeah, I have seen people on, sometimes on the news.
That's right.
These.
That's right. We're coming out of, marathons.
Yes.
Here we have, now these we buy, so these will get donated. These we buy. These are winter beanies. They're really very nice.
Yeah.
And these are waterproof gloves, which we also purchase with contributions. And, as I said, Karen puts them into packages, and we give them out. And people are so thankful because, can you imagine, a lot of people don't have any gloves, and it's,
and it's frigid.
0 degrees, 40 degrees.
Right.
You gotta have gloves.
Like last week was frigid cold.
Yeah. So, and we do other things. We do fresh produce and food, and many other initiatives just to try to help people that really aren't in position to help themselves.
And I think it's such a kind gesture. Just the fact that you recognize the need out there, because most of us are so consumed in our daily run of life that we forget that we have so much that we take for granted, whereas the others are suffering for basics.
Yeah.
You mentioned Karen a couple of times. We have Karen behind the camera.
That's right.
Camera shy.
Hi.
You can say hi. Yeah.
Hi.
That's right. Yeah, she's, we've been doing this together for, as I said, this is our 14th season. And,
that is awesome.
She makes toiletries, gift bags, and all kinds of stuff over the years. And, we're fortunate enough, we're a go-to now after all these years. So when people have items to donate or monies, we're kind of a natural go-to, and they know it's going to go downtown. It could be the next day, it could be 3 days later, but it goes immediately. I had a woman drop off new coats today. She bought them at Costco. They were on sale. We're going downtown Monday. They're gone. People will be wearing them on Monday, and that's one of our little, one of our little pluses, I guess I'd say.
No, that's great. And we often think of the larger charities, the established ones that, you should see the ads on TV. You know about those charities, but we don't realize that there's need around us.
So much need. There's so much need everywhere, and there are so many good people and good charities. I mean, we're only one. Sure, we like people to support us. In fact, can I give my website? where people can support us or just
Yes,
go on.
please.
Sure. So it's going to be njhomeless.org. njhomeless.org, and there is our full story with lots of pictures, and folks can actually contribute if they have the means. But my point was that there's so many great organizations to contribute to. You almost don't even have to look too hard. You find because of the need.
There is a need. There are organizations, and one can always diversify the amount that one thinks to donate in a year. One can diversify and look closer around you also.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I started all these years ago. I started in the soup kitchen at St. John's Soup Soup Kitchen when we moved my place of business nearby, and I saw all these people. I didn't know anything. I was a neophyte, and what are these lines out here? And I started figuring out that these people have no food, and their families, and they're homeless, and started going there, and one thing led to another, and here we are today on your show.
No, I mean, we need to showcase you and what you do, because it'll definitely inspire many more people, and hopefully it's njhomeless.org to be remembered. So how did you get started really on this? From St. John's? Or?
Yeah, from St. John's. I started in, as I said, in the soup kitchen, and then we said, gee, look at all these people.
When did the soup kitchen come into your life? When did you start with the soup kitchen?
Sure. So I worked for NJ, well, it's called NJPBS now. We were called NJN back then. We were down on Broad Street, down by City Hall, and we moved our studio facilities to the Robert Treat Hotel, and that's where I saw these lions at St. John's, like a block away. And I went over to check it out, and sure enough, and I said, gee, I'd love to volunteer. And they said, yes. I started volunteering. Then we would make sandwiches and bring them down and, give them out to folks. And then, we started as a coat drive. Maybe I got 300 coats the first year, ended up with 14,000, then diversified and started doing all these other items like, as I started to mention, stocking these free food giveaways that are all over Newark. When we're going to deliver produce and fruit to the one we're going to, we probably pass 2 more. Just like the same thing with people down the street, as I say, kids out in the freezing cold, waiting online for hours. Why? Because there's a finite amount of product available. So if you're not in the first 100 or whatever, you may not get that fruit. You may not get the gloves. So it's beyond a sad situation. And my sense is it's going to be getting even worse now, if that's possible. I guess it is.
We don't want to imagine that, right?
We don't want to, but I see it. We see it. A few times a week. It's very real, believe me, very real.
It is. Do you also collaborate with the bigger clubs like the Lions or the Rotary?
Yeah, well, we have a speaker. I go out and I do a picture presentation at some of these organizations. I know the Rotary just gave us a very generous donation here in town. The Elks, very generous, and there are other, I hate to mention because there are others I'm going to leave out just because, and and so I'm available. I mean, if folks want to have me come in with my pictures and show you what's going on downtown, again, it's njhomeless.org, if I may,
No, absolutely.
So, I may do that one more time.
Absolutely. We'll keep doing that, and we'll also post that in our caption when we write a caption to this episode.
Beautiful.
Okay, so off that topic now, your tie is really eye-catching. Right. And what's I noticed that it's not just a print like normal ties are. It's a kind of a patchwork.
Well, it is a patchwork. It's a layering. Here, let's put these gloves back. It's a layer. This is mola, which is indigenous to. Well, let me just hold it up in a way people can see. Mola, which is indigenous to Panama, and I knew that. I was getting some prompting from my. I don't want to say my staff.
So there's always a woman behind the man.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, we were fortunate. Exactly. We were fortunate to go to Panama once, and we saw this mola. I guess we knew about it. We brought back a ton of mola, including this tie, which...
So that's what it's called, mola?
Mola, M-O-L-A.
Mola.
And so this is pretty simple. How many layers of stitch material, I don't know, but some of them are very intricate. They might have 10 or 15 or 20 of layers put together, and these women sit along the street and they make these things, and it's really, really cool. But thank you for noticing.
No, of course, because where I come from, India, we also have a lot of this hand craftsmanship, and when I was little and I was learning, stitching and embroidery and crochet, I had done a skirt with patchwork like that, just to kind of give it a shot to see how do these ladies do it. So that's how it drew my attention. And coincidentally, I'm wearing a poncho which is alpaca wool from Peru.
I thought maybe you made that.
No, thank you very much.
No.
I am very talented, but not that
No,
talented.
that's what they say around town. Definitely, definitely. What part of India? What state are you from?
I'm from Delhi.
Delhi, okay.
Born and brought up in Delhi.
Okay.
Yes.
So I once made a documentary about Kerala. As you know, but we're not here to talk about that. Where everything is so advanced in literacy and education, and it's all well, maybe this is related.
Kerala?
Yeah, it's all about volunteerism.
It's beautiful.
And people reach out to the community. So yeah, that's.
Kerala is so beautiful and so lush green. It's also called God's own country.
I missed that in my show. I messed up.
It's called God's own country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the southern bottom tip of India.
Oh.
Spectacular. Yeah, I've been there, and I made sure my children go and see that place also because it's so different from where we come from. Delhi is so different from.
Well, thank goodness they see that it's not just all about
Yes.
Livingston, which a lot of kids they figure that out. They're shown. Some aren't though.
Yeah.
I wish they'd all go downtown with me on a day and just have a look-see at what the reality is.
Definitely, and I think that's why I wanted to do this, because a lot of children are on this podcast on OATS UNCUT, and their parents are watching the podcast, and hopefully their family and friends are watching. So the word gets spread out, and awareness gets created. So that's our mission, to promote the good stuff, to inspire people along the way if we can.
Awareness. That's also my view of advertising. We're not talking about that either, but it's really to create awareness, and then action and deeds may come from that awareness. So similar concept, maybe not the best analogy, but sort of.
Right. So when I met you at the Clergy Corner, you mentioned that you were also teaching at Montclair State University for some time, and you were also teaching public speaking. Tell me about that.
Well, here's what I was teaching. My courses, I taught, TV business. So TV courses, TV production, TV journalism, TV this, TV that. So I was lucky enough to teach a couple of communications management courses, station management, TV station management, and also something I called This Business of the Media. I was fortunate that I was allowed to kind of make up my own courses, most of the time. And so I always include a public speaking element, at least one in a semester, for the same reason that you do your OATS Academy, right? Because, kids, adults, everyone need experience speaking in front of people. And some are just, they're natural, they're going to be fine. Others are nervous. They don't want to, they've never done it. That's really who I did it for. So we would do things like a presentation, a pitch presentation. So I'd be the VP of programming, tough, whatever, and they'd come in with their pitch of what show they wanted to put on my network, including visuals, and they'd have to get up in front of the class and do it. And it was a cool exercise. I really liked it.
Yeah, and I think it's so important because I honestly feel good communication skills help us have better personal and professional experiences and relationships.
And what about the electronic portion now? This is a few years back. Now, all this communication skills are needed electronically. You're doing a job interview. How's that going to happen? Probably online.
Right, but even online, your energy will come through online too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So in fact, sometimes when I do Zoom classes with students, I also have to educate them about centering themselves visually on that screen tile. You can't be sitting sideways or your head is too low and people are looking for you on screen as to, okay, where are you? Can you look at the screen, please? Or you don't know where to make eye contact. Where is the lens on your device to make eye contact with people on the other side? So there's a lot of education. I mean, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, it's evolution. Right? Life is an evolution. We should be evolving. And God forbid if we don't, that would be a very sad state of affairs.
Speaking about job interviews, I would do on-site job interviews, meaning I would be the boss, the manager, whatever. I would have my students come in, individual, one by one, prepared for that interview, dressed for it. These days, you have to? I don't know. You probably should.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. And that's probably one of the things you teach. And so they would come in and I'd put them through a pretty tough job interview. And, some, just like the public speaking, were uncomfortable, but good.
I think it's a state of mind too. So when you dress up, it's a state of mind. You feel ready.
Yeah.
I was doing a Zoom interview with a lady, and she was a stylist, and I was sitting on my desk, and before we hit record, I said to her, Katie, give me a second, I want to get a glass of water. She said, sure. So as I got up, went to get water, came back, sat down, she looked at me and she smiled, she said, you're wearing heels. I said, yes, I am. She said, but your shoes are not visible on screen. Why would you bother? But she said, I appreciate the fact that you've taken the pains to get dressed fully for this interview. I said, yeah, Katie, I wouldn't feel like I'm in work mode if I wasn't fully properly dressed. I can't have flip-flops on my feet and all dressed up on top. It's a mindset. I feel ready.
No, that is true. There's a lot to be said about that. But I guess I call it your own personal perception of how you want to be perceived, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the sweetest thing is when the children start observing, because I work a lot with children, and I had this one class of girls. They were all like third graders. When they realized that now we're going to be doing this podcast, they started coming all decked out, like with sequins and all. And I said to them, I said, what's going on? Why are you so dressed? They said, no, but you may record a podcast, so we want to be ready for that. So I looked at them and I said, I'm feeling underdressed. They said, yes, you are.
Yeah.
They were telling me I was underdressed, but I love the fact that they were that observant.
Well, because you taught them, right? They learned how to, because before we as teachers, you especially, how could they know this stuff? We know it from from life experience, from what we do for a living, our family. But how could they know it unless someone teaches them? And that's where your OATS Academy comes in, right?
Absolutely. And that's why it's such a gratifying job. I absolutely love doing that.
And that's why I love working with TV production students, especially in production classes, because again, how could they know? There are certain things and techniques and tricks, and sure, it took me 20 years to figure some of this stuff out, finally, but why not teach them now? Because again, how they couldn't know.
Do you recall any experiences as you were teaching public speaking to your students?
Well, I recall maybe a third of the class being pretty darn nervous.
I know.
Pretty darn nervous, but they knew to come prepared, and so I wish I could remember some of the products, because they would invent the product. So it could be, who knows what. It could be something really serious. It could be some crazy thing they invented. And it was always entertaining. Oh, and then the other students in the class, after I peppered them with questions, they got to do it. So in a general way, I can answer your question.
No, that definitely. And like you said, it's entertaining.
It is. I mean, one thing I really liked doing was I was also, had a TV production company along the way. And so I would actually hire my best students to work on productions I was doing. Some of them were pretty big productions. So not only did they get that experience, but they got their first paid job in television.
That's awesome.
And I would give them the check right afterwards. They'd say, really? No, it was a very, let's say it was gratifying. It meant as much to me as actually doing the show as working with them. And those pictures I have, because there were quite a few.
Yeah. Why did you start the meditation part?
That's a real good question. Myself and my friends, we were initiated, as it's called, into TM in about 1973. We went over to Montclair, where there's a center. I mean, I have friends who went over to India to study with Maharishi himself, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. His teacher was Guru Dev, and he made, I don't know if he invented the process or not, but and then we all did it religiously for many years, and it's very, you're a meditator of a different type, I guess.
Different type,
with as we talked about on Pastor Dan's show, but with seemingly similar outcomes.
Right, because as I work with my students in terms of communication, I also teach them a few breathing tricks, and the trick of internalizing your energies first, that I think sharpens focus. So I think all that pranayama, the breath exercises, are also very yogic and very meditational to a certain extent. And I tell my students that if you do these breathing exercises, first of all, your brain feels calmer, your thoughts come clearer, and your voice actually sounds better because you are not rushed. Pace is in control, pitch is in control, thoughts are in control. Your outcome is brilliant.
I haven't heard that word in years, pranayama, but I used to go to these meditation weekends. Now, with TM, you meditate twice a day, no more, no less. That's it, 20 minutes. But when you go on these meditation weekends they had, there'd be, some teachers there, maybe a guru, and exactly before and after we meditated, it was pranayama.
Wow.
And that was the word, and it was sure.
No, I do yoga twice a week. So every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, when I do yoga, I end with pranayama and then shavasana.
You do the big yoga things is that you at the circle? Or that's maybe Fal.
That's Fal.
That's Fal.
Yeah. No, I participate if I can, but I've been doing yoga regularly for the last almost 5 years now.
Well, they say it's the best mind-body exercise, I guess.
Mind-body alignment.
Alignment.
Yes.
And my wife does yoga too.
Awesome. Well, we've crossed 20 minutes.
Already?
Already, can you believe that?
No.
And we've talked from Livingston Philanthropies, njhomeless.org, TV production, communication, meditation.
I know. You can keep on going,
and
right?
Mola.
Well, yeah.
Mola and Albaca.
Yeah. Exactly. No, this is great. Well, you're a fun person to speak with. You're a good interviewer.
Oh, thank you.
And you're doing important things in the community. So we could probably go for another. But you know the old rule of show business? Maybe you don't know. I didn't make this up.
Tell me.
This goes back to maybe vaudeville, I don't know. But it is, the show's over already. So you're supposed to want your audience, you leave them wanting more.
Yes.
Oh, you mean it's over now? Now, in my case, I don't know. They might be, if this was a TV station, they might be turning the channel already. But yeah, it's
They
like...
play the ads, the
point
commercials.
is, we can keep going if we,
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but this has been a great conversation. I like to cap it at 15, but it's OATS Uncut, and if it's flowing, it's flowing. We're not going to stop the flow because life is a flow. We need to go along with it. Thank you, Jeff. Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much
to you.
welcoming me to your beautiful and well-appointed studio too.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Karen, for accompanying him and for the prompts from behind the camera.
Yeah, I needed it maybe, yeah.
And keep doing the good work. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was OATS Uncut. Stay tuned for more episodes that we bring to you every Wednesday. Take care of yourself. Be well.